AU Day celebration. It's a day for us to think about the unity of all people on the continent, and of course the diaspora is the other contingent we have to think together in terms of Pan-Africanism. So hey, welcome to the show, AU edition of GTV Breakfast, beaming all around the world and on DSTV channel 278. My name is Kafui Day. Today's AU Day. We've got a lot for you. Look at my teeth. I want to close up. Yeah, you see the gaps? In some places, it's a sign of beauty. In other places, they say, Charlie, it's a deformity. We're looking at crowding and gaps in the teeth today, and I think I'm an ambassador of gaps in the teeth. At least I have one big one. The only one in my family who has it, and I wear it as a badge of honor and pride. But is it a deformity? What's it all about? 6:30 today on Health Check. We'll look at crowding and gaps in our teeth. What's it all about? You will find out on today's show. We've got a conversation on 999. That's the number that you're supposed to call if you see something. You have to say something. Yesterday, the Minister of National Security launched a media campaign. We're trying to stem the tide of terrorism in the country. There's a big conversation on that at 8:30 this morning. If you see something, say something. That's what it's all about. And the telephone number to call is 999. I'm proud to be one of the ambassadors for this media campaign, and we'll be giving you a lot more information on that. Our WhatsApp number is 055 556 1034. 055 556 1034. Sports news is at 7 with Maltiti, who out of the corner of my eye, I think is wearing something nice and bright and yellow. But you don't have to even imagine, because at 6 o'clock, she'll come on for the 6 o'clock news and see for yourself. There's a lot ahead on today's show. You stay with us. Do not go anywhere. This is GTV Breakfast AU Day edition. My name is Kafui Day, a day like my name. Welcome to the show and stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. The breakfast news is at 6 o'clock with Maltiti Saida Sadiq. You don't go anywhere. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you for joining us on GTV Breakfast News at 6 a.m. I am Maltiti Saida Sadiq. We're streaming live across the world on DSTV channel 278 and on Facebook at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Let's start off this morning. And the early morning rains on Tuesday exposed the vulnerability of Accra once again as residents were displaced in some communities. The rainwater distributed refuse and submerged facilities. GBC News did arrests around town after the rain.
The torrential rain, which lasted for hours, forced many residents to abandon their homes and seek shelter elsewhere. Affected areas include Adabraka, the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, and Kanishi. At the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, the rainwater spread debris all over. Some traders were seen cleaning up the mess and sorting out some of the items that had been carried in the deluge. Filth took over the streets and their surroundings. Some offices were submerged, and documents and their items were also left in a bad state. Some Ghanaians expressed concern about the situation.
I'll plead with the whole Ghanaians that we should adopt a good behavior towards our environment. I think we are also contributing to the fact. But moreover, we've entrusted the work into one person's hands, which is the government, which is the MDCs and other institutions. So they should enforce the law.
The Kanishi Polyclinic was also affected by the floods. The head of the environmental health unit of the facility said the situation was painful.
The running water from there passing through the Gamache facility broke the wall and entered our facility and flood the whole place, as you can see.
This is a hospital canteen. That's where the nurses, the doctors, everybody eats from. And then if this has happened, for how long will we stay this way?
30 million. Nyama nina mot bi biara ko. Sesi ahwe nyama me container na ye. Enyime ya wo hwemaye. Na ye side to makoya no.
At the Kanda post office, the storm down a tree. Speaking to a rescue officer from the NADMO headquarters under the Urban Search and Rescue Unit, Mr. Mawuli Duke Alomato GBC News, no casualties had been recorded. The Ghana Meteorological Agency has predicted there will be 3 more heavy downpours in the southern part of the country before the end of June. Meanwhile, the hashtag Accra Floods has been trending on social media with posts of people showing the havoc caused by that day's downpour.
Let's look at road infrastructure. An assurance from the government through the Roads Minister, Mr. Kwesi Amoakwata, to Ghanaians is that resources will be made available to construct roads affected by the floods. He was on a tour of parts of Accra affected by the early morning rains for first-hand assessment of havoc caused. GBC News was on the minister's tour.
Of rain showers on Tuesday morning cracked and weakened the soil under a portion of the road from Kanishi leading to the Graphic Road referred to as Mpamprom around Abosilkine. This caused heavy vehicular traffic congestion on that stretch. On a tour to the area with his entourage, the Roads Minister, Mr. Kwesi Amoakwata, inspected the damage caused to find a lasting solution to the problem. The contractors on the Obechebi-Lamte interchange, Brazilian company Quiros Galval, repaired the damage before the arrival of the minister. Interacting with the team, the minister was told that due to the intensity of the rains and as a major road, reconstruction was needed immediately. As part of the company's project area, the Mpamprom Road is filled with filth in the chamber beneath the road. The minister was impressed with work done so far. He urged the team to speed up with the construction since the Ghana Meteorological Agency has warned of some more rains and for long periods until June. He said work must not be disrupted from traders around the project site because it is to address perennial flooding and ease congestion.
Saturday downpour caused major 1 or 2 other areas in Accra have equally been affected. So we are picking the intelligence, and where the road is affected, I am going around with my team, and this is government quick response to deal with all such emergency situation.
Mr. Amoakwata urged residents to maintain proper solid waste disposal and desist from building on waterways.
We must be disciplined a bit. The drains are all blocked with all kinds of things. We throw into the drains anything at all from our homes. So we want to appeal to everybody. We should not do this to ourselves.
The project's resident engineer, Mr. Owusu Sechere Entry, said the affected area is part of the project site. He said for now a temporary reconstruction has been done and asphalt will be laid by the end of the week if there are no rains.
We realized after the heavy rains, the road became impassable, so we needed to move quickly. So we had to mobilize equipment quickly to come and do the repair work. There were 2 major spots, one at the Mpamprom traffic light and one very close by the bridge. We were able to, within 2 hours, do the one close to the bridge. It's the Mpamprom one that took a lot of time. The asphalt was completely ripped off, and then the base material, that was also completely ripped off. So we had to build the new base completely, which we've done. We did natural material and then crash rock to finish it up.
At exactly 4 p.m., the road was opened to ease the congestion, which lasted almost a day.
Let's still stay in the capital and on flooding parts of the capital has become a normal occurrence whenever it rains. This phenomenon is attributed to the inefficient nature of our drainage systems, indiscriminate disposal of waste and poor management of solid waste. After a series of consultations to find a lasting solution to the challenge, the Ministry of Works and Housing, in partnership with the World Bank, initiated the Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development GARRET project. The GARRET project is expected to improve flood risk and solid waste management in the Odo River Basin of Greater Accra. The Communications Director of NADMO, Mr. George Aisi, has been giving us updates on progress towards the implementation of the GARRET project.
NADMO has so far been dispatching teams to rescue flood victims and salvage properties since flooding started this rainy season. The Communications Director of NADMO, Mr. George Ayisi said progress is being made for the Garrett project to kick off. He noted that consultative report will be sent to the World Bank to inform the release of funds for the project.
The World Bank consultants are engaging the stakeholder agencies to make their inputs on the way forward. They've spoken to NADMO, Hydrological Services Department, Ministry of Works and Housing on the way forward. And so, yeah, we're making progress as far as the consultative process is concerned.
Mr. George Ayisi cautioned the public against building on waterways and adopt proper waste disposal methods.
Our attitude is a worrying situation. Last year, AMB over 240 people, and still people are committing offenses. You know, disposal of waste offenses, and you don't know whether the punishment is not severe enough, or people are just adamant to respond to the progressive needs of the society. That's a very worrying situation too, especially at NADMO.
NADMO is optimistic the Garrett project will help minimize the incident of flooding in the capital.
Let's go to Parliament. And Parliament resumed sitting yesterday, Tuesday, May 24, 2022. After a 7-week break, the House is expected to consider about 69 bills, among other issues, during this meeting.
The second meeting of the second session of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic commenced Tuesday morning. Currently, over 700 questions have been filed by members, and the House is expected to consider many government programs and 69 bills before it goes on another recess in August 2022. The Finance Minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, is also expected to deliver the mid-year budget review in July 2022. The Speaker welcomed members back to the House.
You are also aware of the recent decisions and directives of the Supreme Court and other courts of competent jurisdiction in a number of cases that affect the way we conduct affairs in this House. We may disagree with their decisions, but we are bound by those decisions and have to comply and obey. We've been called upon by those decisions to take action to review the composition of this House and the procedures of this House. The earlier we do that, the better for all of us and the country.
Leaders of both sides also raised some concerns.
It's not been easy. The suffering of the Ghanaian people even reflect in the suffering of MPs when they are in their constituencies. And I'm sure some had to run out earlier than scheduled because there is increasing cost of living, there is increasing cost of doing business, and I believe that this House must look at some matters of public importance.
The Speaker, we need really to, as a Parliament, be informed about the causes of the floods, especially in Accra. The other day, when Professor Frimpong Boatim, in his capacity as the Minister for Environment, made a profound presentation at Cabinet as to what explains the flooding situation with the least downpour in Accra. It was most informative.
The Speaker announced later that the President of Mozambique would address the House on Wednesday, May 25, 2022. Rachel Quarty, GBC News, Parliament.
Let's go to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has charged the nominee for the position of Chief Executive of Dwabe Municipal Assembly, Alexander Kwabena Safo Kantanka, with 26 counts of corruption in respect of a public election arising out of 2 public elections conducted in September and November 2021 for the confirmation or otherwise of his nomination. Mr. Safo Kantanka will be arraigned before the High Court Criminal Division in Kumasi on Wednesday, June 1, 2022. The Commission has begun inspection of party offices in Accra, led by the EC Chair, Madam Jean Mensah. Officials of the Commission was at the CPP and PPP party headquarters.
This is the first time the Electoral Commission is visiting party offices to inspect their operations. Per the EC's requirement, every political party should have at least 2/3 of its offices at the regional and district levels. The team led by the EC Chair first visited the offices of the Conventions People's Party, CPP. They were received by the party's chairperson, Madam Akosua Frimpoma Sapon Kumankuma, and the General Secretary, Nana Yajantua, and some party executives. Madam Frimpoma Sapon Kumankuma was grateful for the visit. She, however, raised concerns about issues with rent, which she said affected the party's finances. The EC chairperson, Madam Jean Mensah, said the visit is not to witch hunt, but rather to help the party make informed decisions.
It's not ideal to sit in our head office and not go down into the field and to see what is happening in the political party offices. This is part of our mandate, and we ourselves as commissioners have to have a feel and know what is really going on in the offices of the political parties. As you may be aware, Section 15 of the political parties law requires parties to have presence, not only at the national level or the regional level, but in 2/3 of the districts across the country. And so we are trying to basically do these inspections and to assess the presence of political parties all across the country. And that will enable the Electoral Commission to take an informed decision. I think many times we have been to the special budget committee of parliament, and the question they've asked us is, what is our role? How are we performing our role of oversight of the political parties? And so, for the first time in our history, as I mentioned earlier, commissioners themselves are going to the field. We are going to come back with reports once the field visits are done, and to provide the public with information. In addition to that, the Commission intends to apply some sanctions to parties that have not, do not have presence. And we have on our records information of parties who, since their establishment, don't have any offices at all.
The team was also at the headquarters of the Progressive People's Party at Aveno. The place was flooded, and so the team could not inspect the office. The chairman of the party, Wusu, said the party is putting up a 3-story structure which will soon be completed. The deputy EC chair, Mr. Samuel Tete, said the routine inspection will continue till the next election. For GBC News, Hagar Owusu, Electoral Commission, Accra.
Away from the Electoral Commission, let's take you up north, where the Noguchi Memorial Center for Medical Research has found the polio virus in samples of water scooped from some drains in the Sanarugu municipality and the Tamale metropolis. The Deputy Northern Regional Director of Health in charge of Public Health, Dr. Hilarious Abiu, told GBC News in Tamale and said the virus was discovered in a routine surveillance indicating that it is airborne. He advised that necessary precaution be taken to avert an outbreak.
For nearly a decade, Ghana was almost free. However, in 2019, hopes were dashed as a 2-year-old girl in Tripoli was confirmed with polio, which paralyzed her in both legs. The virus was also found at the time in a drain in Tamale in the northern region. Partners in the health sector responded with a vaccination campaign across northern Ghana and the Greater Accra region. The latest discovery of the virus is in drains in Nyashegu in the Sagnerigu municipality and Kopilmagu in the Tamale metropolis, indicating the presence of the virus. The Deputy Director of Public Health at the Northern Regional Health Directorate, Dr. Hilarious Abiu, said partners in the sector are working to curtail an outbreak.
We're going to look at most of the children within that environment, take samples from them and take to the lab to see whether children within that environment or have had contact with the virus. We will also take a look at the under 5, particularly children 2 years and younger, to see whether they have been fully vaccinated. Okay, because then the level of protection that the children have will depend on their vaccination status.
A number of open interconnected drains in Tamale end up in open dugouts constructed to store water for domestic use. Some residents drink from these untreated water sources. It is also common to find children loitering in the open drains, exposing themselves to infections. Poliomyelitis is a disabling and life-threatening disease caused by the poliovirus. The virus spreads from person to person and can infect a person's spinal cord, causing paralysis.
Away from the north, let's go to the international front, where the UN Migration Agency has announced plans to transfer at least 6,750 Ethiopian migrants from war-torn Yemen to their home country in the coming months. The UN agency appealed for $7.5 million to assist their return. The International Organization for Migration said it has transferred more than 600 migrants, including 60 unaccompanied children, to Ethiopia on 3 flights so far this year. More flights were planned between Yemen's southern port city of Aden and Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa. Last year, more than 27,000 migrants embarked on the arduous journey from the Horn of Africa to Yemen. Yemen has been engulfed in civil war since 2014, when the Iranian-backed Houthi rebels took the capital, Sana'a, and much of northern Yemen, following the internationally recognized government to flee to the south, to Aden, then to exile in Saudi Arabia. Still on international, let's look at the monkeypox that is making rounds, and Morocco has discovered 3 suspected cases of monkeypox, and this is the first time this has happened in the kingdom. Dr. Muad Mrabet, coordinator of the National Center for Emergency Public Health Operations, in a statement said medical tests were underway and that the result will be made public. The statement did not state where the suspected cases were detected or the identity of the 3 people. Monkeypox, which was eradicated some 40 years ago, has suddenly appeared in recent weeks in countries where it is normally only very rare. Europe and North America, as cases continue to rise outside endemic areas of Africa. The World Health Organization confirmed on Monday that the situation was critical, but said it was possible to stop the transmission of the disease between humans. Very crucial to know how the weather will look like today so that you can go about your activities productively. And Felicity Ahafianyo, who is the head of Central Analysis and Forecasting at the Ghana Meteor Agency, joins us on the phone lines now. Good morning, Felicity.
Good morning, my sister.
How is the weather looking for us today? Yesterday we experienced a lot of showers in Accra, and I did hear some parts of Ho as well. How is the weather looking like for us today? Will we see some sunshine?
Yes, today is going to be pretty good for us over the 16 region. We are going to have a partly clouded sky, meaning the sun will smile on us today. And then later we'll have the rain clouds forming, and then produce some rain and thunder over Kumasi. So we have 40% chance of rain for today, afternoon to the evening hours for Kumasi, Obuasi, Koforidia, and Ho. But those of us along the coast, we have some patches of rain clouds that is forming over the sea. It's likely to induce cloudiness over Accra and its environs, central and then western region. With just a slight chance of slight rain occurring over places, but it's not going to be on a wider page, but then just on a small note. In terms of temperatures for today, while Damango, Bole, Kumasi will record 35, 37, and those of us over Bolga, Navrongo will have 38 degrees Celsius. Greater Accra is likely to have 32 as their maximum temperature for today. The state of the sea is still expected to be rough, so fisher folks is free to go for fishing, but then the state is rough, so they have to do the fishing activities cautiously because we have some patches of rain and thunderclouds over the sea, and it's much closer to the coastline than deep into the sea. For minimum temperatures for tomorrow, before we bring you an update, the coast is likely to record 25, Forest 24. Likewise, those of us over Bono and then Bono East Northern region will have 25 degrees Celsius. So the satellite picture is what we are seeing now. We are having those patches where I engulf the pink. Those patches are rain clouds that are drifting in. It's likely to induce cloudiness over Greater Accra. So this is how it's going to be for today. No much activity. If there's going to be any massive change, we'll definitely get back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Felicity Ahafianyo is the Meteo Agency, the Ghana Meteo Agency, is the head of Central Analysis and Forecasting, giving us a rundown of how the weather will look like in Kumasi. They are expected to be some showers, Ho and Koforidua. So plan your day right. Take an umbrella out when you're going out so that you can go about your activities. That's it for GTV Breakfast News at 6 a.m. I am Multi Decider Sadiq. Up next is Health Check, and we're talking about dentition. Stay with us.
Household within this ancient community has one commodity. It is a town that has evolved over the years, but the main occupation of the indigenes has been kept.
The industry is a viable one, but with so many challenges.
Though a laborious task with no form of protection, it remains the mainstay of the people. Adults, youth, and even children are involved in this ancient business, but at the mercy of Mother Nature.
And nothing happened.
Stitches and threads.
AU Day edition of GTV Breakfast. Still to come, we've got sports news at 7 o'clock, breakfast headlines at 7:20. There's a conversation on national security. We'll have the information minister and two panelists talk to Thelma about the media campaign to get people aware of what to do when they see something. They should say something, and that number to call is 999. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what you see in my mouth. Yeah, you see the gap is there. And we're looking at how to deal with it. I mean, is it really bad to have gaps in your teeth? How do you deal with crowding when it's like there's too many teeth in your mouth? What's that all about? We have on Health Check a conversation on gaps in the teeth and crowding and dealing with all of that stuff. And this morning I'd like to introduce Dr. Novisi Akutu. She's been here before. And we're always happy to have her here. She comes with a beautiful smile. She's an orthodontic consultant from Platinum Orthodontic and Advanced Dental Services. They are top-notch numero uno as far as dental practices are concerned. Novishi, good to have you here. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
It's a real pleasure. So millions of people all around the world are affected by oral health problems. There are so many. You have discolored teeth, gaps in the teeth. Don't know whether mine is a problem, but crooked teeth. And you know, oral health problems can leave you in a lot of pain and can actually affect the quality of your life. And I just found out that they could even be life-threatening. So that's really concerning. And you know, when you have oral health problems, then there are issues of confidence as well. You know, free to flow in public and mix with people. But sometimes the problems can be solved quite simply, and it's just a matter of knowing what to do and where to go to get your solutions. And so I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
I also found out that there's something called the Smile Month. Tell me about that. What's it all about?
Yes, so I love Smile Month because what Smile Month says is that dentists all over the world must concentrate on actively engaging our clients and the public at large. But what it also does is that we get so used to focusing on foundation. So brush twice a day for 2 minutes, etc. And then we tend to get boxed into that. And that message is really important in the foundation. But at some stage, you have to start actually building on things. And one of the things that we really need to build on is how your teeth affects people's confidence and how they actually interact. And obviously, that then starts to go into the aesthetics of how people look and how the public at large actually perceive people. So whether that's going to have an effect on your job prospects, whether it's going to have an effect as to whether you are confident enough to even approach a member of the opposite sex, etc. So now we are going a bit deeper, and we're hoping that the foundation has been laid, and what else is actually out there for people who may just not be that confident or happy with their smile.
Okay, and so when do we celebrate Smile Month?
So Smile Month is from 16th of May until the 16th of June. So we are bang in the middle of Smile Month, which is why we are here today.
All right, so we're in Smile Month. In case you didn't know, we're bang in the middle of it, 16th May to 16th June. Okay, now let's talk about the gaps in our teeth. Why should we be minding the gap? I know this is something you hear when you go to the UK. Mind the gap, mind the gap. Stepping
gap.
Off the train or the tube, and they want you to mind that gap between the train and the platform. But we're talking about this gap in the teeth. Why should we mind it?
So look, for us in West Africa, we have so many gaps. So if you look at the number of people with gaps, then what we are doing is that we are basically looking around 26 to 30%.
I thought we were rarer.
No.
My family were it's just me who has it, but so we're almost 30%.
Yeah, so we're at almost 30%, whereas in other cultures, etc., you're looking at the early teens, around 11 to 13%. Okay. So the way it affects or it's actually seen is quite different. So you find out that women have 10% more gaps in their teeth compared to men.
Okay.
And this is naturally occurring gaps. And for the men, even when it happens, it tends to happen in the lower teeth rather than the top teeth.
Okay.
So then it's not as obvious. So there's definitely something going on there in terms of the genetics of it.
Okay.
Now, should you mind the gap? This just depends on how you feel. Because again, culturally, there has been this move, and you find out that places where a lot of people have gaps, people are trying to make gaps when they don't have any gaps.
They actually make gaps.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously we also have all the icons and the people who people look up to. So the person who's very famous for having gaps is Madonna.
Okay.
But you've got people like, but you've got people like Eddie Murphy, Samuel J. Jackson, and very recently, all the French models, Vanessa Paradis, etc., all have gaps. So it seems to be something that's becoming almost fashionable, and it just depends on what culture you are in. And I think that some element of a gap, most of the population will think is aesthetic and attractive, but then the gap can grow and grow and grow, and then it becomes outside of what's deemed to be aesthetically pleasing.
Can the gaps actually grow?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
They do definitely grow, because you were saying, well, is there a problem with having a gap? Absolutely not. However, there are two things. So the good thing about having a gap is that there's loads of space for saliva to go around, so you're less likely to get decay in your actual teeth, and we've talked about the aesthetics. So then the negative thing about having a gap is that if it's quite large, you can lisp.
Okay.
So rather than talking clearly, you tend to talk a little bit like this.
Your S's don't be as, they're not as pronounced.
Yeah. So all of your S's and your this get a bit lost in pronunciation.
Okay.
And then the other thing that happens is that we develop a habit where we keep putting our tongue into the gap, almost to see whether it's still there.
Yeah, I do. Now that you say it, it's something that I do quite often. The tongue is always touching the gap.
Yes, the tongue is always checking.
Are you there? Are you there?
Are you there? Are you there? And we need to remember that the tongue is a muscle. So the more you do that, the more you are pushing your teeth further forward, so that the teeth are then going to end up being too far forward.
Ooh, so that's something to think about.
That's something to think about. Don't keep pushing against the teeth. Just keep the actual tongue away from the teeth.
I'll try and tell my tongue that the next time it's happening. Now, you've talked about genetics. You said Africans tend to have more gaps than other people, non-Africans. What are the other things that can cause gaps?
So you see, the thing with gaps is, yes, we've talked about genetics, but what's the genetic of it? So the minute you see people with gaps, we always have to think why. And the genetics is really important. So once there's somebody with a gap or a missing tooth, the chances of somebody else in the family having that increases to about 60%.
Okay.
So then what we tend to say is that once we found a missing tooth or something, we try and get as many of the family in just so that we can actually take a look. But the genetics is important because you inherit the size of your jaw from one parent and the size of your teeth from another.
What, the mother can give you the jaw and the father gives you the teeth?
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly. So if there's a mismatch, that's when you then end up with the gaps and the crowding, etc.
Okay.
And as we intermarry more and we move around more, these things become more prevalent. So if you look at the ages ago, in order to see whether a horse was a thoroughbred and had clear lineage, they would check the horse's teeth because there's a certain format which you are meant to see. So we know that the genetics plays quite a big part in this.
So my mother gave me my jaw and my father gave me my teeth.
I don't know which one
I need to go
it
and check
is.
their pictures and see what's going on there. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I never knew that.
Yes.
Wow.
So
how do you guys find this out?
Oh, we do a lot of research.
How about gum disease? Can that cause gaps?
Definitely, because the thing with gum disease is that gum disease ends up removing the bone around the teeth. And you just have to imagine a tree with roots in the soil. And if the soil starts to get moved away, then the tree will start to sway. And in exactly the same way, if you have untreated gum disease, then what actually happens is that you end up with this swaying, which then ends up affecting the position of the teeth.
And I'm looking at some teeth, right? That's quite intense. I mean, the one on the left, you can actually have teeth like that.
Exactly.
Swaying to one side.
Yes. So this was a gentleman who came in, and you can imagine he had quite low self-confidence.
Oh, I can imagine.
You know, was very worried about bad breath as well, but really just the position. And he was petrified about losing those actual teeth. And you can see how they are leaning over to one side.
Yeah.
And this is what we're trying to share, that with the right format and getting to the right place and the right dentist and the right people, then we were able to actually move his teeth within about 14 months to the other picture so that he saved his teeth. He became so much more confident, he smiled more, and his actual whole quality of life per se was actually improved.
And that took 14 months.
That took
And
14
how did you get it back from the lean on me position to kind of
So from the knee or knee position to that required braces, okay, to actually gently shift, but it wasn't just braces. We also had to treat the gum disease first, because you cannot have the foundation being weak.
And then you're building a roof.
And then you're building a roof, exactly. So we had to step back and get the foundation and the gum area really sorted out and maintained before we could then build up on it to get the results that we did.
You guys are like masons, you know?
Yes.
How about habits? Sucking of your thumb and sucking your tongue.
Yes.
I don't know about tongue sucking. I know about thumb, but tongue?
So, yes. So there are three things that get sucked a lot. So we call it digit, whether it's the thumb or fingers. The other thing that happens a lot is lip sucking. So you get a lot of people who suck their lips, okay? And if you think about where your lips are, and if you suck in your lip, you're going to be moving your teeth further forward, okay? And then the third one is tongue thrusting, or the position of the tongue. So now you've got this tongue which is continuously put. Yes, or else just placing the tongue quite firmly against the teeth. Now this is really interesting, because if you see, let's say, 100 patients in a West African context, you'll find out that about 10 to 12% of them have habits. Now that's really high, because elsewhere you're looking at around 1 to 2%. And I believe that there's a picture that's showing what happens when you keep pushing your tongue against your teeth.
This is crazy. So just the tongue action, this soft muscle has pushed your teeth that far forward.
Exactly, because the tongue is a muscle, and where your teeth sit is from your tongue pushing the teeth outwards and your lips pushing your teeth inwards. So if you exacerbate that force, then the teeth have nowhere to go but outwards, but the teeth are not going to increase in size.
No.
So I always say that now your teeth are literally on the athletic track and running on the outer side of the athletic track. There is more space for them to actually cover, and so the teeth then go in. So what are we saying about habits? For us, we consider habits to be fairly normal until the age of 5, 5.5. But the minute the child starts to transition into getting their adult teeth, we must really have a concentrated effort towards abandoning the habits. And dentists are extremely good and efficient at this. So we always get the parents coming in and say, I've tried everything. I have used Stop and Grow. He won't stop. I have done ABC. And the thing that's missing is the actual talking to the patient and the psychological input, which dentists are trained to do. So we find that just with the dentist talking to the patient and the way that we are trained to do it, up to 90% of patients will stop within a month just from that actual interaction. So habits definitely have an effect, especially on spacing.
Okay, great stuff. Now let's look at solutions. Now, how do you resolve the various issues that you have? We've talked a little bit about habits. How about gum disease?
So gum disease, we saw those photos. We are, first of all, looking at dealing with your dentist or a specialist who only treats gum disease, and those people are known as periodontists, okay? And what they're basically doing, we have to come to the realization that once you have gum disease, it's almost exactly like having diabetes. It's a condition that you're now going to live with, but we are trying to make sure that you're not going to lose any more bone and that you are maintaining what it is that we are doing. So they do a lot of cleaning. Okay, and what they are doing is that they're not just cleaning the tops of the teeth, they're actually going down and focusing on cleaning around the roots of the teeth.
It's going into the foundation.
It's going into the foundation to actually make sure that that is clean and that the patient is not going to lose any more bone. Once that has been stabilized, then everything is possible. Everything else becomes possible.
Nice. Great stuff. How about small teeth? How is that a problem? If your teeth are small, maybe
it's
you're a small
not a
person.
problem. It's not a problem, but what's going to happen is that you're going to have spaces,
If your teeth are small.
If your teeth are small, you're going to end up with spaces.
Why aren't teeth standard? Why does everybody have the same size of teeth?
Because then I wouldn't have a job.
Nice one.
Because nothing is standard.
Okay.
So with small size teeth, we have the ability to actually build up the tooth. So you literally fatten up the tooth. And this is quite a safe procedure to have done. There are loads of ways of actually doing it. And so we can also do that.
Okay.
But the major thing that we encounter a lot here is missing teeth. So you were born and God did not give you the right number of teeth. Yeah, so you have missing teeth, or we have a habit of just having teeth removed when we have problems.
Okay.
So somebody has toothache, rather than going and having the tooth preserved, they're in so much pain, they go and they have the tooth taken out. So the picture on the screen is a lady who actually had 4 teeth missing at the top.
Was she a boxer?
Now, no, she was born with 4 teeth missing.
4 teeth missing, just like that?
Yes.
True.
So these are the patients that we then say, can we see as many of the family as possible? Because if she has 4, there's bound to be other people who have missing teeth. Okay, but with 4 missing teeth, you can see that the gap, that you have a tiny gap, has now become really, really huge. Okay, so this was done with a combination of braces to close the gap, and then we looked at ways of replacing teeth.
You gave some fake teeth?
So we gave her fake teeth, but now we can have a look at the different types of fake teeth that we actually have at our disposal. And one of the things about fake teeth, and it would be great if we could zoom into this, is that you have somebody who basically has a missing tooth or missing teeth. And there are 3 ways of actually dealing with this, okay? So one of the ways is by means of an implant. So now the whole world has got used to implants, so you can also have dental implants. But what's a dental implant? A dental implant is actually a screw. Okay, made out of titanium, which goes into the bone.
Titanium?
Yeah, so it's a titanium screw. Titanium is very important because it doesn't react with bone or tissue or anything. So a screw actually gets put in, okay, and then it's left there for a while. And when it's left there for a while, the bone grows into the screw. So now it becomes part, and you now have a root there. Once that's there, then what happens is that we can do what we need to do to then get the top of the tooth sorted out, okay, so that now you have no gap. Awesome. Okay, so that's known as an implant. Yeah, usually takes about 4 months to do from start to finish, and about 2 to 3 visits. Okay, but the good thing about the implants is that it's a standalone structure. It will probably outlive you. So the average implant will last about plus 40 years.
Nice.
Okay, and it's going to feel like your own. So I actually had an implant done about 14 months ago, and even I don't believe how natural it actually feels. Okay, so that's one of the ways of doing it.
Okay.
But we also have another way, which is when you put a bridge.
Okay.
Now, a bridge, by definition, is usually attached to 2 things.
Yeah, connector.
So how do we do that? We back to this. What happens is that these 2 teeth are going to connect the bridge. So we shave off a bit of this tooth here.
You shave it off?
Yes. So we drill off a little bit.
While I'm not conscious, right?
Whilst you are conscious, but under local anesthetic.
And you're grinding.
Almost like having an actual clean, actually. And then we take a mold, and then we make 3 units that are now together. So again, what happens here is that then gets put there.
Wow.
And the gap has again disappeared.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
But so you have 3 things together closing the gap.
And that's your bridge?
And that's your bridge.
Dental bridge?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last way of replacing teeth are these, which are known as dentures. Okay.
Yes.
So dentures are really, really good at not just replacing the tooth, but the gum area as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And we just take a mold, we choose the right color to match the rest, and then we get it into it. So what we're saying is that there are so many different ways of dealing with the gaps and actually replacing them, should you wish to actually do that.
Now, the denture reminds me of my dad. Yes. You put them in a glass of water, right? overnight or something.
Oh my days.
He used to do
Yes,
that.
so a denture is removable, and we always say that you shouldn't wear it at night because that's like going to bed with socks on.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely need to come out, and they do usually end up in a glass of water.
Of water, yes,
by
yes,
the
yes.
bedside.
Yes. Shout out to my dad. I know he's watching
Ready
wherever
for
he
the
is.
next morning. Yes.
Yeah, so he used to come, intentionally frighten us by come to smile at us without the dentures, you know. How long do they last?
What, dentures?
Yes.
Oh, dentures can last approximately 10 years. Okay. So again, when we're talking about dentistry, everything is going towards better function, better aesthetic, but also better longevity. So we know that you have to live your lives. We don't want you with us all of the time. So we're trying to approach things in a holistic manner so that things can last quite a long period of time.
Okay. I've heard about crowding too. What's that all about? What's crowding?
So crowding is again when you just have too many teeth for the space you have available. Okay.
How does that work? I mean, we're supposed to have adults supposed to have 32 teeth, right?
You meant to have 32
So what, do you have
teeth.
56 or something?
No, well you can, but most people still have the 32. But now your mom had a small jaw and you inherited the size of your jaw from your mom, and then your dad had quite large teeth and you inherited the size of your jaws from your dad.
Okay.
So now there just is not enough room.
Ah.
But once we go on to crowding, simple to correct, but requires, it depends on how much crowding there is.
You enlarge the jaw, you narrow the teeth.
You can narrow the teeth,
Okay.
But you can only narrow the teeth by a certain amount, otherwise the teeth become sensitive because you don't want to be taking away too much enamel.
Okay.
So usually if there's what we call significant crowding, you end up taking out teeth to make space and then using some type of a brace to then move the teeth around. Yeah. And obviously when it comes to braces, there are all the different types of braces.
Quickly run through that for me before you.
Okay, so we always have 4 different types of braces, really quickly. Metal braces, which is what most people think of as braces, if we could just zoom in on that. So that's the metal one with colors. Then we have a less obvious one, which is tooth colored. Then we have one that a lot of people don't know about, which is hidden.
Yeah, I've seen some of those ones before.
Yeah, so those are hidden. So when you're walking around, no one knows that you have a brace on.
Okay.
That's hidden on the inside, okay? And then everybody's favorite brace at the moment, invisible braces.
Really?
Okay. So braces that you just people don't know that you've actually got them on. Okay. But these do require discipline. These ones are glued in.
Okay.
Yeah. But this one you have to take out to eat and drink, and then it goes straight back in.
When I see all those colors, are those like colors? Why are the colors? I see pink and blue and green.
People love their colors.
Okay.
Our patients spend longer picking colors than actually doing anything else because every time they come, they get to pick whatever color they want, and then we obviously change them.
How long can you wear braces for to correct your problem?
Okay, so how long and how long should are 2 different things. So how long should most brace treatment last? 90% of brace treatment should be completed within 2 to 2.5 years. Okay.
You'll be wearing these things in your mouth for 2.5 years.
Yes, but it's quite a journey because we see you approximately once every 6 to 8 weeks. So it is a commitment, but it's a commitment that's going to get you done for the rest of your life.
Okay.
So in terms of return on investment, it's one of the highest return on investment because if you have this done at 13, 14 and you do the right thing, it's going to outlive you.
What's it made of?
So these ones are made of stainless steel metal. These ones are made of porcelain, so they're actually ceramic. These have a gold content.
Gold?
Yes. And then obviously these have a very, very sophisticated plastic, which is known as smart track. So all of the different materials available.
And the metal ones, I mean, when you go through customs,
it doesn't even beep.
Beep, beep,
Imagine.
beep,
no, it doesn't even beep. And your implants also don't beep.
They don't beep. Thank God for that. Before I let you go, what's the highest number of teeth you've seen in one person's mouth before?
Oh, up to 80.
80 teeth?
Yes, because there are syndromes where people grow a lot of teeth. 80. And a lot of the time they don't all come through into their mouth. They actually stuck in the bone, etc. Yes.
Did you say 80?
Yes, 80.
And then the least amount of teeth you've seen?
Oh, the least amount of teeth I have seen is about 6 adult teeth.
That was it?
That was it.
And the rest was just a black darkness?
The rest were baby teeth or just blank and did not have anything
Did
there.
you give them a solution?
Yes, you definitely
So
give
now
them
they have a
solution.
full mouth of...
They have, I wouldn't say 32, but they probably have about 18 to
essential
20.
ones for chewing.
Exactly, exactly.
Your job is interesting. Such a lot that you've given us to share here. How can people get in touch with you to get more information about?
So obviously, with it being Smile Month, we've been really, really proactive. So we have given you a lot of information. We do have an electronic magazine, which is available on our website, platinum-dental.com. But also, we are going to be having some Ask the Dentist sessions, which will be advertised on our social media, where we'll have a panel of dentists, and we're just going to encourage the public to call in just to get some more information so they know what options are available to them.
I can't think, so 80 teeth.
You still?
And the fewest was what, 6?
Yes, I will send you the x-ray of the 80
I want to see
teeth.
those 80 teeth. Dr. Novishi Akutu, thank you so much. She is a renowned orthodontic consultant from Platinum Orthodontic and Advanced Dental Services. They are the best recognized dental practice that you can find. We got Airport Hills Limited, Airport Hills in Ghana. You can find them on Facebook. Where else? Instagram. And
our website, www.platinum-dental.com.
Yes, I'll be making an appointment to come and have my teeth cleaned one of these days. I'll come back and show you the results. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you for having us.
Keep enjoying the Smile Month.
I will.
Yes, indeed. My name is Kafui Day. My gaps are nothing to be ashamed of. 30% of Africans have the same smile as me, which is great. And for the sports also has gaps, and we're happy. We like our toothy business. And we have got sports news at 7 o'clock. We've got headlines at 7:20. I have seen KKD, so I know he's in the house. 8:30, we've got a conversation on national security. The information minister will join Thelma and guests for a conversation on 999, the number to call if you see something, you want to say something. Our WhatsApp number is 055-556-1034. You keep watching GTV Breakfast. Those of you who are chilling in bed and watching, you'd enjoy. We've got more content for you. You don't go anywhere. Maltiti comes up next with the sports news.
Thank you for joining me on this side. It's GTV Breakfast Sports. I am Maltiti Saida Sadek. There's a lot happening in the sporting world. GFA has named the technical team that will lead the Black Stars to Qatar for the World Cup. Also, we'll look at the Black Stars playing their second AFCON qualifier. We'll look at the WAFU Under-17 tournament. We'll look at some women's football, we'll do some boxing, and Klopp has been named the Premier League manager of the season. We'll give you all the details of that as well. Let's start off with the Black Stars, and the Ghana Football Association has named Otuado, Chris Hutton, George Boateng, and Udidi as technical team to run the affairs of the Black Stars until December 2022. The 4 men led the Black Stars to the crucial qualification of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar and are set to supervise their preparation to the World Cup. The 2023 AFCON qualifiers and the World Cup itself. Now the coaches are expected to name their squad AFCON 2023 qualifiers and the 4-nation tournament in Japan. Let's still stay on the Black Stars, and reports say that the Black Stars are likely to play their second AFCON qualifier group game against the Central African Republic at a neutral ground. This is because stadiums in Central African Republic could not meet CAF standards, hence the need for the new venue. The Central African Republic 11th November Stadium in Luanda, Angola, and has already written to the Angolan Football Federation for the use of that stadium. Meanwhile, the Angolan team is in the same group with Ghana and the Central African Republic. Let's look at the WAFU Under-17, and the WAFU Under-17 Cup of Nations 2022 has been officially launched in Cape Coast yesterday. 7 countries, namely Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Niger, Burkina Faso, and host Ghana, will compete for the title as well as a slot for next year's Under-17 AFCON in Algeria. The local organizing committee chairman, Samuel Inimadu, officially launched the tournament and further laid out plans and programs for the tournament, which is set to kick off on Friday, 11th June to 24th June 2022.
On behalf of the WAFU Zombi President, Mr. Ket Simeon Ukraku, the executive members of WAFU Zombi, the secretary of WAFU Zombi, the office of the Ghana Football Association, the Ministry of Sports, we, the LOC, made up of my colleagues here, officially launched the WAFU Zombi Under-17 WAFU Zombi Under-17 tournament to be hosted in Cape Coast 2022.
Now, the LOC intends to use the tournament as a platform to develop juvenile football on the international level.
Anytime we have the juvenile football, happening, and 17 teams playing, we're all excited to see them. And I do also recall some of the names in Cape Coast that featured back in 1991, and a 17 team. I think there was one name that was president everywhere, right? Yeah. So I did see him play to some of those back then. Yeah. So when it comes to Cape Coast, this is history, this is home. And so this competition, we are trying to ensure that it becomes a festival for everyone who wants to be at the stadium to watch the game. Much so, because I said it's more of a juvenile game, we are going to have access to most of the senior high schools and junior high schools to play a huge role in supporting every team that comes to play, not necessarily Ghana, but every team that is going to feature in this competition, because it is a competition that we want to use. Just as our chairman is the vice chairman for the juvenile committee, it should tell you that when it comes to the games involving the juveniles, it's a very huge one. And we are here in Cape Coast to tell you that it is very important that we support. And for the media, we cannot do this without you. We're doing it for most of our national teams. And just so on the 1st of June, the Black Stars will be playing here. Just the same work you've been doing, we expect that to do the same for us. And just as again we've been saying, it's a festival. It's a juvenile football festival. It's a WAFU Under-17 competition. West Africa is meeting in Cape Coast. Let us find a way to welcome everybody. Our history of being a tourist attraction, let us use that. And let's make sure that we enjoy the football that the teams are going to sell to us. Remember, it's the first step. The major step is Algeria 2023. If we are able to organize this successfully, remember there will be a lot more competitions that Cape Coast will have to play a role. And so let us just enjoy the football and make sure that Bobaman does enjoy it.
Let's look at the Women's Premier League season, and the stage is set for another epic clash between Hazakes ladies and Ampem Dakwa ladies as they face off in the 2021-2022 Women's Premier League season. Now, champions ladies head into the game with an invincible record of playing throughout the season without defeat, whilst they look forward to maintain their dominance on Ampem Dakwa to take another shot at the CAF Women's Champions League. Now, the final is set for Saturday, May 28th at the Accra Sports Stadium.
Hazakes ladies of all sides today have been unable to get a very clear-cut chance so far in the game. The ball at the back of the net for Ampem Dakwa. Aquan ladies.
Well, I did tell you how they have been absolutely phenomenal and dominant in the
Director of the National Sports Authority, Professor Chumesi. We also have the President of the Ghana Football Association, Mr. Edward Ketokeku.
And the Premier League has approved the €4.25 billion takeover of Chelsea by a consortium led by LA Dodgers co-owner Todd Bowley. The league says the consortium has passed its own. Club has been named Barclays Premier League Manager of the season and won the Sir Alex Ferguson Trophy for the